Hey guys, this is Nicole from Low Carb Nikki, and today I'm reviewing a product which is a salted caramel MCT oil by Keto Electric. I'm not affiliated with these guys anyway at all. I don't get anything out of doing this video. This is just my honest review and opinion. This is the packet here, is a little sample one, which is actually, it's quite huge. Like, for a sample, it's pretty big. And this is the guys here that are making it, Keto Electric. And at the moment there isn't a wide variety of MCT oil powders available in Australia. So it also came with a card with some information, so I'm going to check that out. So it's an Australian owned company. No added sugars. Then it just lists some of the benefits of MCT oil, for example, increased brain clarity, suppressing hunger and cravings, things like that. Directions for use, pretty standard. Mix a heaped teaspoon in your favourite beverage, hot or cold. Less than 0.1 gram of net carbs per serving. So nutritional information, we've got 210 kilojoules or 50 calories per serving. Less than 0.1 gram protein per serving. Total fat 5.1 grams. Saturated 3.7 grams. Carbohydrate less than 0.1, sugars less than 0.1, dietary fiber 1.9, sodium 128 milligrams. So ingredients, we've got MCT oil powder, salt, natural flavor, monk fruit powder, anti-caking agent. So the number of the anti-caking agent listed is 551. I'm not familiar with that because I don't really care about anti-caking agents in my stuff personally. I do know a lot of people fuss about it, like they don't want to buy shredded cheese because it's got anti-caking agent. Look, for me it's one of those small compromises. So you can check out these guys at ketoelectric.com.au. The Instagram is @ketoelectric. There will be links and stuff at the bottom of the video anyway. What I got was, like I said, I got this little sampley thing here. I also got this. It's really cool. It's got their logo on it, and I actually already own one of these, but this one looks nicer, and it's already got batteries in it too. The one I bought, I had to buy batteries. So what I've chosen for sampling this is some iced coffee. So this is coffee, just black coffee I made in advance, that I keep in the fridge for when I want a cold coffee. Usually I fast during the day, but I've got the smoker going. I've been cooking on there for a couple of hours now. The smell's getting really good. It's making me feel hungry, and I thought I would have, a coffee or something, and then I thought, wait a minute, still haven't tried this. I better, get onto that and give it a go. So, some people might be wondering about why would I want to buy MCT oil powder as opposed to just MCT oil, and I've had this question specifically posed to me before. So there's a few benefits. One is that it can be used in baking in ways that MCT oil as a liquid can't. So a really good example would be Matt and Mega over at ketoconnect.net. They have a recipe for an instant mug cake where it's a dry mix that you can make a huge batch of it in advance and store it, and then anytime you want a mug cake you just measure out, I think it's half a cup of the mix and add 1 egg. And that's it. You don't have to add anything else. The reason why is because they use MCT oil powder. So if they were using a liquid fat, you would need to add butter, or you would need to add MCT oil as a liquid, or coconut oil, or what have you. So using the MCT oil powder gives you that convenience. It's also more convenient for on the go. So if you're someone that likes adding MCT oil to your coffee and you're out during the day or at work, this is a lot more handy to carry around in your handbag than a liquid. I've carried lots of different things in liquid forms, and I've had more than one go everywhere in my bag. The other advantage is getting it like this with a flavored one. You can use that, like I said, in desserts and stuff, but you can also use it kind of like a coffee creamer. So that's why I've chosen to do it in this iced coffee. Got my iced coffee. I'm going to follow the directions, 1 heaped teaspoon, and there's already monk fruit sweetener in there, so I'm not needing to add any sweetener at all. I'm going to do a pretty big heap. It smells really nice. It's really nice smelling. It's a really beautiful caramel smell. I like it. And I'm not a huge fan of caramel, to be honest with you. Like, if I had to pick a flavour, caramel would usually not be high up on my list. Alright, so I've gone ahead, I've added that teaspoon in there, and I was planning on using the one I already own. I'll use their one, but the reason why I would say to use something like this would be just to get it evenly mixed in there. You don't want lumps or anything like that, and to get it kind of frothy as well. Okay, so I spent a fair bit of time mixing it with this thing, and there are still some lumps in there. Just some of it's clumped. I usually, when I'm adding powders to things, I start mixing immediately, and I did talk for a little bit and leave it sitting on the top there before I started mixing, so that could be a culprit. But I have had this happen before with powders where some of it does clump a tiny little bit. So one thing that's a good idea sometimes is to add just a little bit of liquid, mix that up so it's kind of like a paste, and then add your remaining liquid. You can see the amount of froth on there though, and this is a cold coffee as well. This is just instant coffee, it's not espresso or anything like that. So I'm going to bang my lid on here with my straw, and I'm going to give it a go. It's actually not bad. It's a very subtle caramel flavour, like it's not as strong. It's not strong like how the smell was. It's much more subtle than the smell. I can still taste the coffee. It hasn't overpowered the coffee or anything like that. It's just added like a very nice little hint of sweetness there. It's quite nice. I like it. I actually want to just pop this open because the smell is just so intoxicating. I just want to taste a bit of the powder just to... Oh wow. It's like... oh, the salt. I was about to say, it's like I have actual caramel in my mouth and then I just got a massive salt hit. That's really good. There's so many things that label themselves salted caramel, and it's really just caramel. This is salted caramel, for sure. So my recommendation would be add more than the recommended 1 teaspoon. I would at least add double, maybe 3, to get like an awesome flavor. Like, because yeah, I kind of want another spoonful to be honest, but I'm going to put it away. I'm really surprised they've been able to replicate the flavors so well. Like I said, this sample was pretty big for a sample. They've been quite generous. Thank you. So I might experiment with this on in some recipes. See how it goes with that. Anything that you would use like cocoa powder in, for example, you might want to add some of this and give it some of that flavor. Maybe even I might try the mug cake that Matt and Mega from Keto Connect do, the instant one. That one is a chocolate mug cake, but I might try it with this and give it a bit of a salted caramel taste and see how it turns out. But there's a lot of possibilities for things like this, and you don't have to add it to coffee. You can add it to smoothies. One thing I really like with things like this is if you're having like a really plain dessert, it's just like whipped cream or something, right? You just sprinkle a little bit of that on top and give it a bit of a flavour, bit of sweetness, so it's like, you know, like a treat, but it's a basic, simple thing. You're not going to eat too much of it. A lot of people prefer those kind of sweets, especially people that have trouble controlling their sweet intake. So all in all, I would say I like it. I mean, for me, usually with MCT oil powders, because they're so expensive and they come in such huge, massive tubs, I usually prefer to get an unflavoured one, so that way I can then add my own flavours. So I can add the MCT oil powder and then also add cocoa powder. Salted caramel, on the other hand, is a much more difficult flavour to replicate. So if it's a flavour you really like, this might be a really good option to add that kind of flavour to your desserts and drinks and things like that. So I'll put links for everything. And I'll put a link for Matt and Mega's KetoConnect.net instant mug cake if you want to check that out. But all in all, I like the flavour. I haven't tried very many MCT oil powders, so I don't have that much to compare it to. but I'd be more than happy to buy this and experiment with it, especially with baking. I love experimenting with this kind of stuff in baking and seeing what you can do with it. Yeah, so that's my little review. Thanks very much for watching. Bye.